Good morning.
Esta es una de las características que tiene el Athletic Bilbao.
That's one of the characteristics of Athletic Bilbao because they work in a limited
Fichar a pocos jugadores,
market. They can't sign many players. They've got the same manager. So other than some players that have come up from the youth team, it's the same team as ever. Well, we're looking forward to the pleasure of playing in a stadium like San Mamés. It's always a spectacle when you play there. In footballing terms, it's the normal complications that are presented by Valverde's athletic team. The way they generate problems. It's one of the most difficult away fixtures that we could have, and it's going to need special attention from ourselves.
En quin grau milloraria la plantilla que tens l'arribada del davanter que esperes?
How could the arrival of the striker that you're looking for improve? I think I said just a couple of weeks ago that the current squad is very good. So to say how much it would improve, of course it would improve. But I'm still happy with the squad we have at the moment.
Luis Enrique, Marta Ramon de RAC1. Ahir vam conèixer que Samper se'n va cedir al Granada. En aquest sentit,
talking about Samper going on loan to Granada, whether it would be beneficial for Munir to go to Celta, for example, on loan, or maybe would you be happy if Alcácer was to come here and Munir would to go to Valencia? I can't really comment on these things until these movements have been confirmed, if they happen. Of course, Munir has doubts about whether he's going to get a regular place in the first team, whether it might be better to accept that if he wants to play regular first division football, he should go somewhere else. And if we determine that his level is high enough, then he can always return. It's a situation we're analyzing deeply. You can look at similar situations recently where players like Sergio Roberto stayed at the club and eventually won their place in the first team, and other players it hasn't happened. We've got players that have gone on loan to other clubs. They've done well at their other clubs where they played on loan and they've come back here. It all depends on each player's different situation, how strongly they think they're able to perform at a high level. I think Samper made a good choice. He's gone to a coach who plays good football and where I think Samper's strengths will be exploited to their maximum potential. So I hope the experience is good for him.
A tu izquierda, Santiago Valle para la cadena SER. ¿Qué esperas esta temporada de Aleix Vidal?
Aleix Vidal, he's asking about. I expect the best of all my players. We need 20-odd regular first-team players. We need as many players as we can, and for them to be at the highest level, because we've got a lot of games and tournaments to compete for, so I expect the maximum out of all of my players.
Buen día, Josep Cabell de Radio Nacional. Buenos días, Lucho. Me gustaría preguntarte, ahora que ya se ha producido el cambio de la portería, explicaba ayer Rubén que no hubo más remedio de hacer cambio porque pidió irse, que el club presiona hasta el último momento para que se quedara. Y me gustaría preguntarte si en tu caso estás satisfecho con el cambio, no había más remedio, se tenía que ir Bravo.
Luis Enrique is pleased with the outcome.
Bueno, ahora ya puedo hablar del portero.
Okay, at last I can talk about the goalkeeper. All you had to do was wait a while, let the days go and let the operations be closed. I wasn't able to offer an opinion before because that would not have been professional, because you need to let the negotiations work smoothly and not interfere. And we always had the hope that we could keep Claudio Bravo. and also we were looking for the possibility of a replacement goalkeeper. Okay, these are the circumstances now. First of all, I'd like to speak about Claudio Bravo and his 2 seasons here. He's worked incredibly well, a top-grade professional, a unique person who's given everything. It was a tricky situation after Victor Valdés had left. I think he's performed to a high level. And I think I can say that all 3 of our goalkeepers have been very professional, competitive. They've behaved, I think, perfectly. I say that as manager. A lot of things have been said, rumors in the press. I can tell you it's quite the opposite. They've been exemplary in their behavior. That's because we belong to a great club, and the most important thing here is the success of the team. Individual successes are important as well, but it's what the team achieves is most important. And what's happened with goalkeepers, it's not just been their quality, but also their behavior, because if they hadn't got on so well with each other, then we wouldn't have been able to make the decisions that we made over the last 2 years. This has been a difficult situation that we've managed to deal with thanks to the exemplary behavior of the goalkeepers. Talking about the loans of Samper and Douglas, and if you can explain why the club is paying for Douglas's federation rights and not Samper's. Speaking as a manager, when you make a loan deal, there are lots of different cases. Remember Rafa, for example, when he came to Celta, things are negotiated. The 2 clubs want what's most important, whether you want the player to be playing more or not. A lot depends on the club that the player is going on loan to. There could be exchange of money. There could be payment of the federation rights. I don't think it's really that important. I think Sporting have put together a really good team at the moment. And I have nothing more to say on that, really. Samper and Douglas, Bravo going, Silicen now arriving, 22 players, 3 goalkeepers. Those 2 places left in the squad, maybe players like Mujica or Alanya, maybe one of the players from the B team. I repeat, I'm always open to everything. We're always analysing the reserves. If they can come up to the first team and show the best of them, that would be useful. The important thing is now to compete. It's not easy for those players to play at the level that they're playing on, because to play on different quality pitches, for example, us playing in Division 2B. So we analyse and look at the possibility of those players coming up and playing for the first team. We'd be delighted if we were able to do that. Yeah, if there were 20, if there were 40, hey, I would do that. Of course, we don't need that many players, but you know what I mean. Younger players and not such young players are in the B team that can always help us at some time. Champions League draw. Barca don't seem to be getting much fortune with Champions League draws. It's going to be 3 difficult months. Okay, talking about the Champions League, it's an incredible, attractive competition for the club, for the players, for the coaches, for the fans. It's not the competition that shows how the team has performed over the season. I think the league is the one that really shows that, because of the number of games you play and its number of points that you amass over the course of the whole season, and it's always a fair champion at the end of the tournament. The Champions League, lots of other little circumstances are involved, but it's still a really exciting tournament, and it's one that, of course, we always want to win, but there are so many different factors involved in winning that. There's nothing that can surprise Barca.
Champions significa exigencia,
The Champions is always a high-demand competition. We're starting against one of the possible favourites of the tournament, Man City, with the situation of us facing Pep Guardiola, who has his past here at Barca, and of course also Claudio Bravo as well. No, I like the fact that we're playing Man City because it means that Bravo can come here and say farewell to the supporters in the way that I think he deserves. Before the draw, we knew that we were going to get a nice group. We have got a nice group with a strong team and with an English team that are favourites forever, and Glasgow Celtic, who we had the fortune to play against in the pre-season, and we're delighted to play them too.
Ashraf Benaed, TPN Sport. Quería preguntarle si usted no descarta utilizar la misma fórmula que utilizó hasta hace poco en la portería con Ter Stegen y con Claudio Bravo.
Would you use the same formula this season that you used with Ter Stegen and Bravo? Do you think Ter Stegen has perhaps an advantage on Silerson? I don't count anything out in football. I've seen everything, and I saw it when I was a player, now as a manager. Every day, every week, I pick my team based on how my players are performing, and I pick what I think is best for the team. That's how it is.
Quim Robert. Hola, bon dia, Luis Enrique, Quim Robert de TV3. Volia preguntar-li per Arda Turan. La temporada passada els partits que va disputar en els quals va participar el van veure molt lligat al mig del camp, en una posició interior esquerra aproximadament. Aquest any l'estem veient com a tercer davanter, si volem dir d'aquesta manera. I el rendiment està sent molt millor que no pas el de la temporada passada, almenys en quant a efectivitat i en quant a números. No sé si a partir d'ara vostè veu Arda Turan ja
Do you think he's more of an offensive striker than last season? I see him the same as ever. Arda hasn't changed at all. No, he's the same player as ever. And I enjoy players, I love players that have got the capacity to play in different positions, because that gives different options to the team and to myself as the manager. He could play as a striker, he could play in midfield. I've also got midfielders that can play as a striker and switch as the game progresses, and that confuses the opposition. Those are interesting concepts to use in the game, and I think he's developing positively on what he was doing last season.
Se ha especulado con, y se han visto imágenes de Roberto Carlos cogiendo una bola.
There have been pictures of Roberto Carlos in the Champions League draw that perhaps there was a bit of a sleight of hand changing the ball. What do you think about that? No. No, I've been watching the Bonolotto, which is a lottery here. No, I don't watch draws. You've got it on Twitter, you can see what the draw is, so I can't really comment on what you've seen because I haven't seen it.
Sí, hola, buenos días. Ángel Pérez de Mundo Deportivo. Le quería preguntar por Digne, que como lateral izquierdo, pero en estas semanas de conocerle, ¿se contempla la posibilidad de alinearlo por circunstancias durante la temporada en alguna otra posición, como podría ser de extremo izquierdo o incluso de lateral pierna cambiada?
Or even on the opposite side of the defence. Digne is a left back, naturally. We were sort of looking to have two players in each position. If, as the season progresses, we need to use him in a different position, and I think that that would be appropriate, then yeah, it's possible. I think it's easier for a right-handed player to adapt to the left than for a left-handed player to adapt to the right in an emergency situation, maybe, but it's not a solution that really springs to mind, but who knows? If I think a player could do better than another player in a certain position, then I'm not closing the door to any options. The important things are the quality of the player and how easily they can adapt, and he may see that as an attractive challenge.
Comentabas sobre la presión que esperáis ante el Athletic Club de Bilbao.
Talk about the pressure of Athletic Bilbao. Talk
y
about
también elogiaba
Mikel Balenciaga.
la presión que es capaz de realizar el Fútbol Club
He
Barcelona.
talks about the pressure
Que el Barcelona es un equipo que agota física y mentalmente a
talk
todos los
about the
rivales.
pressure that
Este es uno
Barca
de los
puts on
objetivos
teams and how
de tu
they
Barcelona.
wear down teams when they play against them. Is that something that you'll be trying to exploit? Well, I always appreciate receiving such words from people that really do suffer in situ games against Barca. But then, of course, they're still able to beat us, as we saw last year in the Super Cup. But other teams make life difficult for us, and we try to make life difficult for them, both on and off the ball. But one of the key aspects of the success of the team, and the players know, is the way that we play in defence, the way we don't give balls away, put immediate pressure on the opposition so that they don't have the ball. So they have the ball for as short a time as possible. It's a collective effort that we exert upon the opposition. The players are aware of the way that we play. We try to make the game as complicated, as difficult as possible for the opposition, because that's what they're trying to do to us.
Alex María Franquet para El Correo. Quería preguntarte qué juego esperas de Athletic.
What kind of football do you expect from Athletic tomorrow?
Presión más atrasada.
And Valverde, and perhaps pressure from the back, he's suggesting. Valverde is a very clever man. I know him. So one thing that he says in a media conference, where there are certain cliches that people say, and the Athletic that we're going to see tomorrow, I'm sure they're going to put deep pressure on us. If they don't, then that would be a surprise, and we'll have to adapt ourselves during the game. But that's always the way they play against us. And when they've got the ball, they're a team with players like Adoriz and Raúl García, who'll be strong in the air against us. So they'll be trying to play long balls. With Williams as well, where they'll be looking to seek balls into depth. I always enjoy competing against Athletic Bilbao. There'll never be an easy game against them. I know that because of the periods that I've been involved in football, and I know just what it's like to play against them.
Sant Mamés és potser un dels camps més complicats.
Is Sant Mamés one of the hardest grounds to go to in recent years? Well, as a stage, it's wonderful because of the stadium. We always say it's perhaps the most similar atmosphere to English stadiums. But there's a nice atmosphere in all Spanish stadiums. I think that's good for football as a spectacle, and us managers enjoy what we have in La Liga. Is that one of the most difficult grounds to go to? It depends on how well the opponents play, and we know how good Athletic Bilbao are. But there's no easy road trip. Each one has its own difficulties. We have to observe the essence of what we do home and away, and try to do away what we do at home.
Hola, ¿qué tal, Luis? Soy Ignacio Miguelez para 3 Media. Yo quería preguntarte por Paco Alcácer.
Paco Alcácer, I know you don't like speaking about non-Barca players, but Robert Fernandez yesterday said that he's the only player that the club has the intention of buying.
Yo le quiero preguntar qué puede aportar Alcácer al
What can Alcácer do for Barcelona? Nice question, but I'm going to answer as ever. I only speak about players in the Football Club Barcelona squad, so I don't think there's anything I have to say about non-Barca players.
Hola Luis, David Ibáñez de Mediaset Sport. Sigo con Alcácer. Dijo Ruber que era Alcácer o nadie.
Robert Fernandez said it's Alcácer or nobody.
Gracias.
And Luis Enrique says, look, he's already answered that question. Thank you very much for listening.